what makes a great story is something you haven't heard before. And it was interesting that, which is slightly different here. I was talking to a very good friend of mine, a very close friend of mine, Max Forsyth, who's a brilliant photographer. And we were having that debate about what makes a great photograph. And, you know, we were kind of almost going to start to talk about lighting or composition. And Max just said, you know, something you haven't seen before. That's what makes a great photograph. And I think a great story is something you haven't heard before. It's almost an impossible question to answer. But the stories that are most memorable are the ones that are based on the truth. And I always say, you know, in advertising, when you're creating a brand strategy, in a sense you're telling a story, those strategies based on truth are the ones that resonate, the ones that stay with people, and the ones that have lasting value. So the truth is the best story you can ever be told. So the best story I've ever told, and I'm going to use my advertising background here, because virtually all the advertising I worked on was storytelling. We'd tell a story. And the best story was for a brand called Phileas Fogg, and they were authentic snacks, bar snacks, and we had them as a brand in the 80s. And the story we told for them was that, and the typical thing is they were making these bar snacks that California corn chips, or you know, something from India or something like that. And the traditional advertising route to this would have been pretending that California corn chips came from California, or the Indian snacks came from India, which of course they didn't. They were made up in the north of England. And so we decided that rather than faking a kind of ersatz story about them being made in exotic places, and then of course on television you'd have had to have put made in the UK because you'd have been forced to do that, quite rightly so too, we thought, why don't we tell the truth? Why don't we tell people that these amazing snacks are made in Medhamsley Road, Consett, County Durham? And we built our advertising out of that story, made in Medhamsley Road, Consett, County Durham. So along with Steve Hooper and Dennis Lewis, who are the creative team working on it with me, we created these great stories for Derwent Valley Foods that turned it into a famous brand. So those are the best stories we ever told.